On today's video, Attila and Takeda are the second generation of Wheel and Mightiest Governor commanders for cavalry. And in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not you should get either or both. Spoiler alert, both of them are insane together. Game-changing commanders that shifted Rise of Kingdoms forever, and even months and even a year after they came out, they are still insanely relevant. We'll talk about all that and much more, so sit back, slap a like on the video, and let's go. Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to Gekko Gaming. We're going to continue our series going through each one of the pairs of commanders that came out in the Wheel of Fortune and Mightiest Governor. As Choose 'em, Mightiest Governor, and Wheel of Fortunes are upon us, it's time for people to decide which commanders they want to work in at what time and so forth and so on. And Attila Takeda is one of those pairs which is very, very, very good. And I'm not only talking about rallying, but they're really good for everything. Before we start, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe down below, and let's get started. For the record, I messed up. I should have gotten them. I still think I'm going to get them years after they came out. Well, a year after they came out. And this is why. Attila and Takeda both came out together, and the thing that they do best is that they highlight normal attack and counterattack. In Rise of Kingdoms up to this point, wars were all about skill damage, were about damage factor done by the commanders, and we can see the best commanders out there when it comes to legendary commanders are the ones that can inflict a huge amount of direct damage, but also buff and debuff a lot. One of the biggest commanders out there, Yi Song-ye, does a dumb amount of damage, and the number one thing that makes Khan so good, although he's squishy, is the fact that he does 1700 damage factor and potentially ×2 when his expertise. You have a 30% chance to do that. What made Edward so fantastically overpowered for a little bit was the fact that he did 2500 direct damage factor. But both Attila and Takeda are not damage factor commanders when it comes to their skills, but rather buffers and debuffers of normal attack now and counterattack. Now let's explain the difference. In Rise of Kingdoms, you have skill attacks, which are when a skill procs, it does a certain amount of damage. You have normal attacks, which every turn your army does. And you have counterattack, which is every turn you get hit, you also hit with a counterattack. And so these two factors, normal attack and counterattack, they're directly correlated to the troops you have and to the amount of troops you have. And they hit every single turn, not only when you generate enough rage to proc the skill. With skill damage, you can have 2 troops remaining and still proc the same exact amount of damage. But with this kind of damage, the more troops you have, the more damage you do. And the less troops you have, the less damage you do. Nonetheless, these were the first commanders in this game that highlighted attack, normal attack and counterattack, to the point where they were insanely overpowered. These commanders come out before KVK Season 3, if I'm not mistaken, and yet I believe in the 300th day of your kingdom they come out, or something along the 300th day. And yet 900 days into Rise of Kingdoms. That's right. We are 901 days into this game. Attila Takeda is still super relevant. And to this day, the number one decision for Garrison is, can it hold against Attila Takeda more than anything else? These two commanders are by far the most overpowered rally and the most overpowered open field march when it comes to doing dumb amounts of severely wounded. Now, if you're someone chasing kills, severely wounded equals kills, and that's what you're looking for. So even as a free-to-play player or a very low spender, having Attila Takeda on the field will grant you a dumb amount of kills and a dumb amount of damage compared to pretty much any other commander. Does this mean you have to get them both together? The answer is no. Attila by himself is very problematic. Attila has yet to find a home if he is independent. He relies heavily on Takeda. But Takeda, as a 5-5-5-1 commander, which I screwed up, don't do what I do, do what I say, is very, very, very good as a secondary even for someone like Saladin. As he is a buffer and debuffer, a good buffer, cavalry attack 40% in speed, additional normal damage taken, and add to that cavalry defense and healing factor. I mean, this guy is absolutely bonkers when it comes to be a secondary cavalry guy for Saladin. For a little bit now, we talked about Saladin and Khan and how Khan is very strong, but the reality is he's a little squishy, so you have to keep him either secondary. If he's primary, he gets yoinked. And Takeda is a really, really, really good addition as a 5.5.5.1 commander, a 380 sculpture commander for a decent cavalry pair paired up with a Saladin 5.5.5.1 or above. And so, should you get Takeda? Yes, you should absolutely get Takeda. If you're a cavalry player, this is a no-brainer. If you're not a cavalry player but looking for a good cavalry march, Attila Takeda is the way to go. Yes, Saladin William to this day in the later stages becomes a little bit more interesting, primarily because they're also good on the open field as well as in Ark of Osiris. But again, Attila Takeda are good for everything. Rally leading, open field fighting, everything that needs to do damage and get severely wounded. Ark of Osiris, Attila Takeda to this day, 600 plus days after they came out, well over a year, are still tremendously overpowered. Now, the thing about them is you need to get them as a pair or Takeda only. Attila by himself isn't as interesting, even though he does add normal attack damage bonuses and counterattack damage bonuses and all that good stuff, damage bonuses even further, defense reductions, all of these neat little insane amounts of buffs and debuffs. By himself, he is a little bit misused. There are folks who have used Attila Chandra. I have seen William Attila, which was very weird, but it seemed to have worked. I've seen a lot of crazy things, but reality is Attila comes with Takeda hand-to-hand. Those two are married, and trust me when I tell you, this is my biggest regret. My biggest regret is that when they came out, I did not invest in them as much as I should have. Now, regardless of that, eventually we ended up expertising William and Saladin, which do a little bit better for us for this specific account, but I was so busy on keeping my eyes on archers and archers only that I completely neglected my other types of troops. Attila Takeda is how you get to 30 million kills in Heroic Anthem very, very easily. Attila Takeda is how you become a rally leader if you have enough good gear. And good gear doesn't really mean legendaries. A set of gear like this one will do a dumb amount of damage as an Attila Takeda. Of course, there's going to be stronger Attila Takedas than this. But if you can get yourself a full epic set with an Attila Takeda, you're going to do a dumb amount of damage. On my jumper account, that's all I got. Attila Takeda is the GOAT in there, and they have their only equipment is on them, and yet I come out first in arcs occasionally. I do dumb amounts of damage on the field. I got 10 million kills while not being able to get into the middle, hiding behind the pass because we got wrecked. And I still ended up with 10 million kills. Attila Takeda, by far, best pair that you can get to do damage. The problem with them is that, unfortunately, because they're so stupidly good, the rest of the game is essentially geared as to how to counter Attila Takeda. For a very, very long time, everything everybody was looking to do is how on earth do we counter Attila Takeda? How do we defend against it? How do we hold against it? You can't swarm on Attila Takeda, it'll be painful. You can't attack an Attila Takeda, you can counterattack it with some infantry, with a Guan Leo rally. Guan Alex rallies do decently well. Counter rallies against the Attila Takeda rally, but you're still going to take a dumb amount of damage in the process. Add to that a double or triple rally or double or triple swarm of Attila Takedas on a target, and whoo-wee, the damage is crazy. Would I say that you should get them immediately? I would say yes. If you can get a good Mightiest Governor position, as we kind of got a decent-ish position, you can end up getting a good Attila and spend your sculptures on him. Takeda, well worth the spins. And I can tell you that my personal goal for my account is going to be one of two moves. The first move is going to be either Attila and Takeda. We're going to get the choose them wheels and we're going to start spinning for Takeda a lot, so that once we have him expertised, we go ahead and get Attila. Or we're going to go for a Guan Alex march, but that's a completely separate story. But even now, months and months and months later, years later actually, almost 2 years, I'm still wanting to get these guys because, boy, when you get into Heroic Anthem with a full march and an Attila Takeda that is well set up, 30 million kills is a joke. You get there really, really quickly. What do you think about Attila Takeda? What do you guys think about this whole thing? I just wanted to make a quick video letting you know why these guys are insanely overpowered. You should start with Takeda, work your way through Attila. Worst case scenario, 5551 Takeda until Attila is expertise, and then get Takeda expertise. That would work really, really well. That's the recommended path for all of you to go through if you choose to go with Attila Takeda. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. Maybe you'll see that, you know, you're getting garrison that's supposed to counter you. But open field fights and even rallies, if you catch a good garrison that's not paying attention, or if you have good gear, you're going to trade insanely positive. Even in our last heroic anthem, when we are rocking Zenobia, which is countering the heck out of Attila Takeda, we still got hit by Attila Takeda's nonstop. Granted, we destroyed them, but it took all the way until Zenobia for someone to finally destroy them. Truthfully, Charles Martel and Theodora do a very good job countering Attila Takeda, but Zenobia definitely does the more positive trades. But even then, for Theodora to come out takes a while. For Theodora to come out, you got to go through the infantry set, which would be Guan and Leo, and then you got to go through Artemisia and Ramses, and only then Theodora starts coming out. So you're going to have almost a full cycle worth of nothing that can counter you, even with Charles Martel, Constantine on the garrison, which is the best possible available garrison against the Attila Takeda before Theodora. You're still going to destroy it. Bottom line, you do want to get Attila Takeda. Cavalry commanders, cavalry guys, not even a question. Anyone else, consider this to be your one cavalry march, because you really don't want to have only one type of troops worth of marches. These guys are it. These guys are definitely it. Again, what do you guys think? Let me comment down below. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Appreciate you. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe down below. Apologies for no stream yesterday. I was feeling a little bit under the weather and didn't want to push it. I'll see you all sooner rather than later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good one. Peace.